Welcome back, Crooked Spine Show. Dr. Tony here. This is Cheryl. She can tell us her story. I love seeing massage therapists because they help a lot of people. We were talking about a second ago. It's become a social norm now to use use massage therapy as a way to stay healthy. We're going to go over why that's been very helpful, not only for myself, but for my patients, but also as a profession, as a business for Cheryl here too. So Cheryl does a great job in her videos or in her post also explaining the science behind the human body, which I love, which is just my, I want to call it my passion also as a chiropractor. So working together, we're able to understand the human body synchronally. That point we're able to work together to actually get people better overall. So Cheryl does a great job. Plus she walks the walk. She keeps herself active and healthy, expecting, as I do, my patients the same for their own body. So Cheryl, nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you too, right. Dr. Tony. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Crooked Spine is what we do. We like people understanding so they can understand who you are locally in Rancho Cucamonga here. I'm in Upland. Help people understand where to go, what to do to find a good physical therapist or find a good massage therapist. So why did you become a massage therapist in the first place? What was your goal with that?
So my background is in psychotherapy, and I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I've always been fascinated with body and mind connection.
Good.
And so about 4 years ago, I decided to kind of transition into the field of neuromuscular therapy, and I have a love for physical fitness. I've been a runner for 30 plus years.
Fantastic.
Stay active, and I just think it's very conducive to health. People I was explaining to earlier have begun to integrate massage therapy in as a maintenance instead of a luxury, which is, I think, imperative, especially since there are a lot of people who are sitting and seated, which causes, I think, being sedentary, more issues than if you have a physical labor job.
It's scientifically proven because people are sedentary, they don't move around enough, but they think they don't sometimes have to move extra.
Right.
And then when they see someone, for example, what you do too, do they ask you about the science behind things, what's going on, how your bodies work, things like that?
So I've had people come to me who have been to orthopedics, they've been to all different types of doctors, medical doctors. And the problem is people don't understand that sometimes things are not explained to them thoroughly. And so I see a lot of lumbar L4, L5, S1 issues.
Lower back, yep.
Yes, and because of personal experience, I've had that surgery. I know the science behind it. So I've had to explain to them the things that they can't do, stretching, minimal seated time between getting up and walking around. And I've been able to explain things to people that they've been baffled by, and they're like, oh my gosh, I finally understand now. That's why my neck has no range of motion.
Well, it makes sense because if anyone can't communicate what's going on with that patient's body or client's body, they're going to leave like, okay, I have a problem, but what is the problem, first of all, specifically, and how do I fix it?
Exactly.
And I think sometimes the med profession, even with chiropractic too, there's not that post-initial visit care that is required for the person to get better, not just knowing what they have.
Right. And also, I don't think people realize the role a tight muscle plays in restriction. So if you have what we call a knot or an adhesion, that's a contracted muscle. If that muscle is contracted, if you have an injury, that pulls on an area even more, limiting your range of motion. So if we can get that muscle to release and relax through stretching, through massage, a number of different ways that muscle and knot can be alleviated, then we have better range of motion, flexibility.
Well, it's amazing where people have never been explained that.
Right.
Why is my muscle sore? Because you have a lack of ibuprofen. No, it's not because you have a lack of Aleve. It's because your body is going through a process of, if you want to call it, becoming tighter, breaking down from 1, 2, and it's reversible.
Right.
And then what is the time from someone to see, for example, a doctor, even referred to physical therapy, versus someone seeing you right away? What's that time frame like, you think?
Well, it depends. If they're sent to physical therapy pretty quickly, a lot of times they'll be referred to massage pretty quickly.
Good.
However, if they're being sent from neurologist to orthopedic, the process can be grueling.
Gray hairs.
Yeah, and a lot of times the pain becomes compounded and is not alleviated.
That's what I see in my office too, is where I'll see someone to go, they'll see their doctor, medical doctor, and they may get prescribed medications, then referred. Once they'll tell them like, well, it doesn't work, come back in 2 weeks, and then we'll refer you to physical therapy.
Yeah.
So that's 2 weeks plus 2 weeks. They go back in, it's not working, doc. Okay, now I refer you to physical therapy. That's another 2 weeks.
And the problem with the ibuprofen, which it can be very helpful,
Temporarily.
in the process integrated with other things.
Yes.
So you get someone who will take the ibuprofen and the ibuprofen alone, and it's a cycle because it's just a Band-Aid. That's all it is. And so people don't understand we can use the ibuprofen paired with massage, paired with getting up, moving around, these other things that are actually going to target and alleviate the issue instead of just the cycle of medication.
It's almost like you're not helping the person heal with just medication. You get the person just to feel better.
Exactly.
So the
very
false
temporarily.
Sense that they're actually doing better, it's actually more of a false confidence versus, hey, I can actually do it. And when you see that too, it's almost not limiting what they're doing, they're limiting what they can do outside of just their work, because it hurts too much.
Exactly. So that happens a lot too. They're in pain, and so they think they need to stay sedentary.
Huge.
So when you're sedentary, inflammation sets in. Inflammation, we know, source of all pain.
Huge.
Right?
Huge.
So if you can get up, you can move around, which I tell every patient, client that I see, you want to get up, even if like you're in flexion, looking down for a long period of time. You want to be able to get up, move around, do some like neck exercises, stretch. That's going to help with the inflammation. You reduce the inflammation, you see a lot more success.
We need to move better. That's what comes. But I also have to tell my patients, your clients, and vice versa, how to move better.
Yes.
Part of your massage is part of that. Also educating patient to self-care.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And I think it's best by example. So people will ask me, so what do you do? And I never suggest go out and run 8 miles every morning like I do.
That'd be okay maybe the first day. Next year, like, I'm not doing that again.
You kind of have to assess where the person's at. So I encourage people to start with walking, and walking is tremendous.
Huge.
It's absolutely great for your body. So is the elliptical, because you take the stress off of all of your joints and you're still moving, you're still burning the calories. So an elliptical, excellent choice. Also, a bike is an excellent choice. Not if you have lumbar disc issues.
Yeah,
stay away from it. But for anyone else, bike is a great alternative. Huge. Especially if you don't like, running and being outside.
There's different things you can do, with equipment, non-equipment. But what's the key of getting the body moving? What's the key?
So what I had to tell someone yesterday, because he tells himself, I'm going to do that, because I told him, I said, you need to get up and for every 2 hours that you're sitting.
Yeah.
And you need to walk for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And he's like, well, I tell myself that. I said, don't tell yourself. You need something tangible. So what I suggest for tangibility is set your alarm.
Yes.
That's tangible. You hear the alarm, you get up, you do, 10 minutes of walking.
Of course.
You sit back down, you've reduced the inflammation, you've gotten your body up, and now you're making a routine. Once it becomes routine, you won't have to use the alarm anymore.
Becomes unconscious versus you have to be conscious about it all the time.
Exactly.
Good.
Yes.
What does it take someone, you think, on average to get that unconscious routine habit?
So it's different for everyone.
Yes.
I mean, it depends on your personality. For someone who has, conforms very easily and adapts quickly, you're probably only going to need it for a couple weeks. Somebody else might have to always use the alarm. I mean, I know people who you physically have to wake them.
Yeah.
One of my children.
Kick them in the head. Kick them
I
in the
won't
head.
mention any names.
It's something where everyone's different. So how do you give someone a broad range of how to get there, strategy-wise, to get the same result, correct?
So, exactly. And also like I said, being tangible with things is the best way to get started. So I also suggested to a client yesterday, he said, I always tell myself I'm going to stretch. I said, well, to get yourself to actually do it, print it off.
Good.
Print it off.
You see it.
That way you see it. Exactly. That way you see the stretches and how to do them. So if you can see it, it's a lot easier to actually get yourself motivated.
Huge.
And do it.
It's almost, you got to find the way that you're going to be motivated. At that point, we can help you as a client, as a patient, to get that result you want.
Exactly.
Good. And with that too, do you recommend someone stretching or doing things in the morning, more at night, or what's their
So I try to ask people, when are you at your best for committing to something?
Good.
Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? Because everybody has a different kind of niche of when they you know, can motivate themselves to do something that they know they need to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's the early morning.
Done.
For somebody else, it might be the afternoon or the evening. But with stretching, I do recommend you do it when you wake up, at least 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then in the evening, 10 minutes.
Some people go like, that seems like way too long. Can't commit to that. Blah blah blah. What's your rebuttal for that?
My rebuttal for that is, do you want to stay in pain?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. You don't have to do anything. You just, but don't complain if you don't want to make a change in your life.
Right.
Will it be uncomfortable when they do that for the first time?
Absolutely, and
Good.
I tell people that too. That's why I say you don't start out with a sprint. You start out with walking, because if you get discouraged, you're going to want to stop doing what you're doing.
Done. Yeah, a lot of it is when you know you're doing something better for your health, if you're uncomfortable. That when you're doing something that doesn't feel good yet, but give yourself time to get used to that. Stress becomes your normal, then a higher stress. That's how you get to 8 miles a day. Crazy. I don't know what she does. I don't know.
I love it. Alleviates all kinds of
Good.
stress.
And why is stress such a bad thing for the body?
So when you're stressed, and people don't really realize what it's doing to your actual neuromuscular system when you're stressed. Shoulders come up, muscles contract. Those muscles create what we call adhesions or knots. And those knots and adhesions a lot of times will pull on areas, which I wanted to bring up anyway, because I see a lot of people who have migraines and headaches.
Huge.
Now, stress is a huge factor with migraines and headaches, because what happens is people pull up, they tighten up, and then those contracted muscles end up in your suboccipital here.
Yep. When she says that, it's basically.
It's at the base of your
I don't have
skull.
long hair, sorry.
Yes,
Right
it's
base,
the muscle.
right behind your ear.
Right,
Like she
and
said.
that's the hugest culprit to migraines and headaches.
Huge.
What happens is your suboccipital is connected to your occipital muscle. When this muscle is tight, it's going to pull here and pull here because it connects to here also.
Agreed.
So that's what's creating a headache. So a lot of people will go in, they'll get Botox, and I'm not down talking Botox if you feel it's necessary. However, another Band-Aid.
Yep.
So if you can target the actual root of the issue, which is, the
Base of
suboccipital, you can help alleviate all kinds of issues, headaches. People come in, they're like, I cannot believe the difference now that I've started doing massage therapy on like eliminating headaches and migraines, and it's unbelievable.
Well, it's amazing when someone understands the root cause of a problem and can help walk someone through, like she just did with you guys, understand how to communicate that to a patient or client, allows them to go, okay, now we know what the problem is, now we know how to fix it, but also now we know what caused it too.
Exactly. Education, I think, has been the biggest reason people come back to me.
Fantastic.
I try to educate people and I'm not invasive during the massage. I'm not talking their ear off. However, I do give them information that's very valuable that they've never heard before.
Yes.
They're like, I've been in for 50 massages and nobody has ever even massaged that area. So trigger point, knowing what to target and educating, huge. And
then when you've done that, then they go, okay, that makes sense to me. Do they ask, what else can I do? Or how do you...
People will ask at home, if I feel a migraine starting to come on, what can I do? What you want to do is you want to put heat.
Good.
Here, base of skull, 10 minutes. And then massage that muscle. That will help that contracted muscle that's pulling to relax, release, and you will feel probably a difference. It'll probably eliminate the headache pretty quickly.
Why do some professionals, practitioners, not want to give advice like that, you think?
I think some part of it is they don't know.
Yeah, great. Ignorant or incompetent, combo, same thing. They don't want to know.
Exactly. And then it takes time to kind of explain things to people. And I, just like going to a good doctor who has a good bedside manner, you have to have, you have to be communicating with your clients, with your patients. Otherwise, they don't come back.
Well, they'll come back because their insurance covers it.
And it's not super helpful.
And that thing is, a lot of people don't understand is when you're in healthcare as a healthcare practitioner, if you're not there to care for your patients, and a lot's gonna be education how they got here and how to get themselves better too. You're just gonna be part of that process. You're not giving them the full benefit of your knowledge and of your experience.
Exactly.
So it's almost you're giving the patient half of what they paid for, because you write a prescription or maybe adjustment, whatever it is too, doesn't mean you're actually helping them get better. So outside of your office, outside of the room, you're not actually helping them live a better quality of life.
Right. And I actually, I wanted to bring that up too. Personal experience can be integrated.
Yes.
And is so beneficial. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of personal experience with injuries, but it's been very beneficial.
You've learned from them.
Absolutely. And I try to inform people, and I never tell people what they should or shouldn't do. I always say, talk to your doctor about it. However, I do give my personal experience, and in my personal experience, staying active, eating right, and it sounds so basic. It does. It sounds so basic, but it's so helpful in living a healthy life and being healthy. I mean, even posture. People comment on my posture constantly. And it wasn't always just, I had to remind myself over and over, sit up straight, sit up straight, sit up straight. And then it became habit where I sit up straight.
You're normal.
And I don't get low back pain. My thoracic spine I feel so much better because of just sitting up, just something very minor, very minute can make a huge difference. And so I try to inform people, of the things that I've benefited from and give my personal experience.
Especially when they look at you for, hey, she's a great massage therapist, she has great knowledge. What else can I pick from her brain to make my life easier? I never want to reinvent the wheel. I'm not a creative, I'm not Albert Einstein. But can I take someone's experience, something that I learned from someone else, and share it with my patients, your clients, to make them overall a better, healthy person?
Exactly, because it's not just, and people think, okay, give me deep tissue, just give me a deep, it's not just that. There are so many things that you need to integrate to actually get better and feel better and be healthy.
No one in healthcare wants someone to keep them back because they never get better.
Right.
I'd have to take Xanax if I did that with my patients.
Right.
I want them better, but I want them to understand why they're getting better, how to get themselves better. At that point, you teach them how to do exercise. What exercises are good for the shoulders and neck that you recommend to your clients?
So, what I do recommend to people is never heavy overhead. I've seen so many rotator cuff tears.
Best.
Even
keeps orthos busy.
I'm telling you, young guys coming in. I don't know what happened. I was lifting like 500 pounds.
They sound like that too, actually.
Yeah,
Steroids.
exactly.
Steroids.
And they're
Horrible.
lifting it over their head. I'm like, no.
I was asking.
It's so unnecessary.
Is it functional for your work to do that?
Yeah. Now they can't do anything for a year and a half.
They can't lift their arm up.
Exactly. I'm like, lift light. What you want to do is you want to lift light. Do a ton of reps. That creates the leanest cut muscle. And that's what people are really trying to achieve. Unless you're just like,
Arnold.
Yeah.
And but then you're even he recommends, even he knows, and it was legal back then to take steroids if you want to. But the problem is then you're causing more fake muscle. You realize what part of it too is how do we work out enough to be functionally fit for our day?
Exactly. And be able to actually get up and move around.
Yes.
Because there's people that I can deadlift, but they can't get up out of their chair because they herniated their L4-L5 because of it. Exactly. I'm like, would you like to be able to do a daily life function and and live healthy, or you want to be like incapacitated and live in a wheelchair?
You're like, help me, please. Someone push me up this hill.
I know it's ridiculous. And when they're young, I understand it, but when it's people in their like late 30s, I'm like, dude, don't even do
At
that
what
anymore.
point? I always ask him, what point do you feel, are you not invincible?
Yeah.
At what point have you hit that point yet? If
Yeah.
not, go ahead, keep going it.
Yeah,
If you hit
exactly.
the point,
Because
let
the
me know. Come
longevity
back to
of
me.
that
Come
is
back to
about
maturity.
nil.
Yes. They always go, I wish I would have listened to that person.
Yeah.
How much does flexibility versus strength balance take in the portion of a lot of injuries, you think?
Okay, so the more flexible you are, the less likely you are to become injured.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So I always recommend, and I was horrible at this, hence many stress fractures later, stretching.
Huge.
Stretching before and after a workout is imperative if you want to eliminate the high risk chance of being injured, especially mid 30s, 40s, 50s. Because younger, your body is just kind of more naturally flexible. As you age, rigidity sets in.
Rigor mortis kicks in. That's about it. It's done. You're
Yeah,
done.
and then you realize it once you're like in a sling or in a cast and
Like,
you can't
dang
move.
it.
Why'd
Not
I do
again.
that?
Not again. You know? But a lot of it is really up to people to understand, take care of your own health. And we're gonna help guide you and facilitate that process, but it takes a lot of Q&A back and forth of understanding someone's body. When you massage someone and help them get to a healthier state, do they go, okay, I no longer need you anymore, Cheryl? Or like, hey, when can I see you next?
I always have people say,
Huge.
hey, when can I see you next?
Huge.
First of all, it feels good.
Yeah.
And just that alone, I mean, people are like, I'm in. Okay.
I just want the instant relief. Boom, instant gratification. Good.
But I do get people to a point where they're maintained. And so I only
Huge.
have to see them once every month or
Yeah.
every 6 weeks instead of every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, where we're really working on just being able to do like daily life function stuff without being in excruciating pain. So you do graduate. But no, I really never have anyone say I don't need you anymore.
It's like, I need you because I want to maintain this state of health,
Exactly.
not go back to what it was before.
Exactly.
And do some people just have so much stress in their life where they have to see you often enough just to maintain that lower amount of stress?
Yes, and I see that in people who have never really been to any type of massage therapy facility.
Got it. Okay. They've been touched before.
It's accumulated over like years and years and years, and they're like, okay, can we do this in like 2 sessions? I'm like,
I'd love to.
it's taken a
That'd be
lifetime to develop
If
that.
you can figure that out, let me know. You
Yeah.
know? That's
So
the
it
best.
takes a while once, and also with a lot of times with adhesions or knots that have
knots,
been there
okay.
for quite a while, they desensitize. So people aren't even aware that they have them until I get in deep and they're like,
Like, oh,
whoa,
what
what's
is that
that?
thing?
I'm like, that's been living there
I
for
call it a tumor. They freak out on me. It's freak.
it's like the size of a softball.
Great. It's fantastic.
And it's not going anywhere
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. It's
And
it's
speaking
growing.
of that,
It's growing, by the way, yeah.
hydration is huge. So what happens is, and I explain this, because they're like, what is a knot? How does it even happen? And a big part of that is, so think of your muscles, they're little fibers. Think of them like spaghetti. So when spaghetti has plenty
Not
of
fettuccine,
water.
right? Not fettuccine. Spaghetti. Okay.
Spaghetti.
Guess my turn.
You're getting hungry, huh?
Yeah,
It's lunchtime.
Hey, lunchtime. Dang it.
So when you eliminate the water, the pasta sticks together, right? That's what your muscle fibers do. So you hydrate, they're able, instead of just staying contracted, they're able to kind of relax and release. And so that's why you want to keep drinking water, stay hydrated. People are like, is that just a saying? Why do they say that? And then I explain that to them. They're like, oh, a light goes on because they've been given something tangible that they can envision. Your muscle fibers are like not fettuccine, but
spaghetti and a raw spaghetti. And part of it, but doesn't coffee and Diet Cokes hydrate your body?
No, actually, caffeine works to dehydrate.
Just want to make sure they know. They know.
And nobody's saying not to drink caffeine.
Yes, I can't survive. I wouldn't be able to leave my house without a cup of coffee.
Just don't
Mentally.
like OD on it, because if you do, that's going to set you back even more. So you're gonna dehydrate, and that's going to cause even more issues, not just with your neuromuscular system, but other issues with your other organs.
Body's chemistry gets thrown off. How about energy drinks? Are there energy drinks for you? Energy drinks?
I've never had an energy drink.
You should
However,
try one.
me 8 miles a day on an energy drink.
That's called an amphetamine. You go right to the hospital.
I'd be running marathons.
You'll have the ambulance following you. When's she gonna pass out? Everyone taking bets.
Running a marathon each morning.
Taking bets on it. Taking bets.
No.
That's the thing is you're a healthy person. So when you're healthy, realize all these things we're talking about, energy drinks, even McDonald's, it's a poison to the body.
It really is.
When your body's healthy.
Yeah, and no one's saying not to ever, because when you you don't let yourself periodically have those things, what do you want to do? You want to OD on them.
Gosh,
and your mind ruminates. Our mind actually, when you take something completely away, you can't stop thinking about it. So just minimal amounts, I think are suffice.
Give yourself time to reduce it from your diet,
Absolutely.
from your habit for one, if that's what you want to do. But can we get healthier and get our body healthier so we have that overall balance? Why is pain, for example, when someone's not healthy, not feeling good, how does it affect them emotionally? Is there emotional component to it too?
Absolutely. When you're in pain, just think about it. Even when you stub your toe, you're like, ah, you want to punch something, right? Or somebody.
Yeah, hold on. I'll stay over here.
So when you're in that constant state of pain, that causes so many physical and emotional issues because your body contracts. When you're in pain, you tighten up. I have people that I massage and I'm like, okay, can you relax? They're like, I'm not. And I'm like, yes, you are.
Doing it.
Yeah. They actually think that they're relaxed.
That's their normal.
And so what I tell people when they think that another tangible thing you can do, take a deep breath in and then release it, because that actually relaxes your body and your muscles. People aren't even aware a lot of times that their body is tight and contracted. It's
part of your interview with them when you first see them or ongoing. Is one of your variables how much they sleep or how well they sleep?
I ask people, especially if someone is saying that they're having headaches or that they have insomnia. I'm asking about caffeine levels. I'm asking about the amount of exercise. Just integrating a walk, a good brisk walk into your day will help you sleep. You would not believe the difference between no exercise and then start an exercise program. It doesn't even have to be, aggressive. Just a walk.
But if I go to Nordstrom's and go shopping, does that count as a walk?
I think so. I see elderly people at the mall, walking. I'm like,
that's good, right?
Yeah.
But if we're stopping shopping and we're doing window shopping, is that really walking, or do you want a consistent walk?
I would say a consistent walk, and if you're stopping and shopping too, you're spending money, and then you're probably not even gonna
more
feel
stress
good later.
But it's always I got 50% off though. Yeah, but it's still $3,000. Why? You don't need that extra pair of shoes again. No,
this sounds like a lot of people I know.
Yes, exactly. It's how do we get out of that cycle of what's causing stress to our bodies versus reducing some of that and making it more of a relaxed, simple, if you want to call it lifestyle versus more complex, right?
Right. And I always say to people, you want to make it doable.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, I want to do what you're doing. No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't. Because then you're not going to want to do it at all anymore 2 months from now. So what you want to do is you want to pick an exercise that you like. Don't do something that you hate.
Yeah.
You're never going to stick with it. So pick something that you like. And a remote control, that's not...
That's Thumb Wars. It's not maybe one of Thumb Wars.
I've actually seen a teenager who had tendinitis from too much gaming. She couldn't even move her arm or wrist anymore.
What the heck?
Yeah. And that was more, you need to send your parents in so I could have a talk with you.
Yeah, hey, we're cutting off the Wi-Fi at 9 o'clock. We're done with the Wi-Fi.
And they were all like, we don't know what's wrong with her. So I honestly had to decipher from asking her questions. I said, honey, are you is it from your schoolwork? She's like, no. And I said, what are you doing that's a repetitive motion? Oh, well, I play 12 hours a day. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's, and then her neck, she had like no range
The
of
whole
motion in her
side.
neck. Yeah, from looking down like this at the thing, no range of, her whole cervical spine was messed up too. So I mean, and this is like a 13, 14-year-old. So we're seeing like, I'm seeing young. I have people that are like, can you come massage my 9-year-old? They're having, and I'm like,
That's
what,
not normal.
what are they doing?
That's not normal.
Yeah, no.
And how do you communicate or get somebody compliant as, say, a teenager or even younger than that versus an adult? Is there a different way to communicate?
Yeah.
What
I
do
do.
you have?
I
How
talk
do
to
you-
them like they talk like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, come on.
And then they listen to me.
Step it up.
You have to kind of talk to them in a way that they communicate. And so I do that. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you don't want to use your thumb at all anymore,
Whatever.
okay,
Just cut it off.
Yeah.
It's not a necessary appendage. Not a necessary appendage. It's not
I
necessary.
don't need school.
Yeah, you have your other side. You have the other arm. You know? But it's something where we can communicate well with someone and use that term like attracts like in their language, the way they posture, the way they talk, the tone of voice, they're going to understand and comprehend what you're saying.
Yes, and you have to get the parent involved
Yes.
also. So you have to communicate with the parent in a way that they can understand, so you do not attack.
No.
You do not judge. You just say, hey, I think I know what's going on with your kid.
Yeah.
So if we want to eliminate this issue, let's try this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try having your kid get up during the day
Yeah.
and go outside.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have to tell people that sometimes. I know it seems simple and it
But
seems
some,
like...
and realize, and I've been in practice for a long time, everyone's life's different.
Yeah.
They have maybe other things they're worried about, other priorities. Like my kid's at least fine. I things over here I have to worry about. So they're going, okay. So I was going to empathize. Go, hey, look, you may not know what's happening on.
Yeah.
Let's give you the big picture here and how do we fix this long term so it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Because if you go to a place where you're at a judgment or attack,
Yeah.
they're going to leave and then their
Shut
kid,
down.
yeah, exactly. And then their kid's not going to
Yes.
have any help at all or anyone in their life that can be helpful. So yeah, you have to approach it like really, and speaking of that, you have to approach everybody's body different too.
Yes.
So I have people that come to me and they're like, give me all you got. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're like just like, ow, stop.
That's exactly what
Give me
happens.
a safe word.
That's
No, don't
exactly
do
what
it.
happens.
Yeah.
So they're like, especially, you get like really
Yeah.
big muscular guys, and I'm like, what type of pressure do you like? Oh, just give me everything you
Go
got.
for it.
And you don't want to give that person everything you got, because what happens is if you have a really tight contracted muscle and you just dig
Take it
in,
out.
what does a really tight contracted
Tighten
muscle?
up again, even more.
Even more. Exactly.
more.
So you kind of have to do an assessment on what each person needs. And I explain to people, I know you want deep tissue, and we will
Great.
get to that.
Yeah.
We will get
Great
to that.
idea.
But it's going to take a little while because you're going to be in more pain if I go in super deep. And one of the main areas that happens is the piriformis muscle.
Ooh, right above the glutes.
Right above the glutes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the culprit for hip pain, for low back pain.
Just cut it out.
Yeah.
Let's get it out of
I'm
there.
like, oh, you have a pain in the butt.
Hold on. Get the axe. No, if it's something where you're helping people understand their body, so what they're doing, if it's affecting their ability to feel better, why not help them understand to change that position, that posture, that lack of motion sometimes to get things better?
Yeah, and it's
not?
from a lot of it is caused from sitting for long periods of time, and then it will start to affect your hip. It will start to affect your low back, and so sometimes people are confused and they're like, "My low
No,
back
yeah.
is out. It's out." I massaged a guy yesterday who thought his lumbar, and I said, "Well, where exactly?" And he said, "Well, it kind of
Yeah.
starts in."
The
I said,
glute.
"Yeah, it sounds like
No.
piriformis issues," and I got it. It was just like, it was so contracted, and the guy, he drives 12 hours a day.
Oh.
So, I mean, it makes sense. Once you kind of start to ask questions and stuff, it makes sense. But then I told him you need to, get some exercise or some stretches that you can do for that muscle in particular and actually do them.
What's amazing when you're able to understand someone's lifestyle, their work occupation, how much you sit, how much you stand, then you kind of walk through what's going on so you can get them to feel right away where the problem is.
Exactly.
So you confirm it with them right there.
Yeah.
There's no guessing. It's not just theory, it's actually action that understand
Yeah,
what it is.
and pain can be very misleading.
Yeah.
You can have pain in one part of your back, and it's actually coming from another place. And people are like, "Wait, why is it hurting down here when you touch here?" I said, "Well, because that muscle connects there. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. And I'm like, yeah.
That's why that's why you're seeing me. I'm a specialist.
Yeah.
I know this stuff.
Yeah. And I'm always learning too, because I learn from people all the time. Staying open-minded, and as you know, huge. I mean, if you go in as like a know-it-all and you think you know, I don't.
When you start telling people what they should do and what you know, like, people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help them?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you help them, then they'll start listening to and comprehending and acting on what you want them to do to become more compliant to get themselves healthy.
When they start to see and feel a difference, that's when you become legit.
That's when you got them. I tell them you got them because then they're going to listen.
Yeah.
For one, too. And realize part of being an expert is knowledge and experience.
Exactly. I mean, experience has been huge for me, because I will tell people I was working at a place where they were being put on a bicycle regardless of their injury. Okay.
Like part of standard warm up, warm down, whatever.
And then people would get off and they're limping and they're holding their back and they're like,
Job
my back
security.
is spasming.
Job security.
Yeah. And so because I knew from having lumbar disc issues, stay off a bike. And it was hard to tell people that when they're being told to go do that.
Wait a second.
Yeah, but I'm like, just try not doing that. Yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's made such a difference. Like, yeah, and then that's when, like I said, you kind of become legit. And they're like, oh, this person kind of knows what they're talking about.
And part of it too is you're helping someone simplify their lifestyle, their activities, to help them only get better, not get worse. You're not trying it on their own.
Right.
That's what coaches are great for. That's where you're not doing trial and error, where you just get disgusted and depressed. You go, I'm not gonna do anything then. I'm done.
Right.
You know, then they end up not getting better at all.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about massage too, is because it feels good.
Yes.
It kind of hooks people, even though there's parts of it that are like, ouch, and I kind of don't want to do that. They want to come back from work because it feels good, and so the interest is always there.
But you're giving them the extra bonus appetizer or dessert to where, here, now do these stretches also.
Exactly.
Because it's going to help you get better between me seeing you, so you come back in a better state so I can do better work with you.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes.
But that's great.
Or people are like, oh my gosh, I can actually turn my neck. I had a lady, she was on her way to the emergency room, and instead of going to the emergency room, she came to the physical therapy place that I was working at.
Yeah.
They sent her to me. I worked on her cervical spine. She left like, oh my God, I cannot believe I was going to go to the emergency room. I have the ability to turn. It was contracted levator scapula muscle. I mean, so contracted. And I was able to help release it, and she had range of motion. It's like, sometimes you think you actually have something a physical ailment that you need to go into the emergency room for, and it's actually a tight muscle.
I have patients come in here after the weekend, and they get mad because they went to the emergency room for a problem, whatever it was, spent 3 hours waiting in the emergency room, got a pill, got a drug, and said, go to your doctor on Monday. They come in here, as you know too, and spend 10 minutes with me and honestly feel better. Yeah. They get so mad, like, why even go?
Yeah. Because it's scary. That's why. Because the pain is there, and exactly. And people are scared, and I understand that. I mean, I've done the same thing myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was not the issue. So the thing about the emergency room is they'll do a scan, they'll do a test, but they're not doing an actual over-body assessment. Yeah. So when they see someone who takes the time to do an assessment, to ask questions that are going to actually produce what's really going on, then they're like, oh my God. And when you get an answer, as you know, when you've been to a doctor and you don't get an answer and it's just a mystery, like, it's terrifying. Yeah. It's terrifying.
It almost makes it worse, makes it more anxiety.
Exactly.
Anxious.
So when you see somebody who can give you an answer and say, hey, I think it's this, and you work on that area and it was that.
That confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, de-stress is like immediate. So
it's amazing when you give someone, like Cheryl's saying, is where you give someone, here's the problem, let's fix it. Does this feel good? Yes, that's the problem. There you go. Confirmed, you're in the right place. Yeah. Done. Yeah. You're not going to waste more time. But you're also teaching them long term, so if it does happen again, something happens over the weekend, whatever it is, they know now where it's coming from. They know where to go for help, and to get the right help without wasting time in the emergency room, paying $100 out of pocket to get no results at all.
Right. And that's why people ask me, if this starts happening, what can I do?
Exactly.
And I tell them, hey, if you're really that scared, go to the emergency room
Yeah.
to eliminate, the fear but you can also, and then I tell them things that they can do.
Try this.
People love the ability to have something to resort to other than just taking a medication. They're tired
of it. They're tired of it. They're going, how do I take care of my own body now?
Exactly. And because there's side effects to those medications. And so then people are dealing with the side effects of the medications. However, they're not dealing with side effects when they put heat on the back of their neck and they massage it, and the problem
Ding.
is eliminated.
No, it's something where you're helping people really understand, Cheryl, how to get themselves healthy. You're helping them facilitate that process, how to feel better so they can get there and then stay there.
Yes.
That's the big picture. And we're at the wrap up for one too. What is a good takeaway from the show that we were going to talk about for them to contact you and work with you? What's a good takeaway you want people to hear?
Well, I want people mostly to hear that it's not a luxury to get a massage. And I think that was something that, from way far back, people felt like it was a luxury. It is actually necessary to take care of yourself. Good. And massage, is an excellent way to do that.
It's an efficient way to work on muscles and joints, connective tissue that you can't do on your own. I can't massage myself. No, it's not very effective.
Yeah.
But by getting someone else to do it, it tells me where the problems are, what I can do outside of the massage to get myself healthy. And before it was a luxury, things like that, but now it's more affordable to where instead of going to your doctor and spending $150 copay for no help at all, see Cheryl, at that point see her and get the benefits of not only the massage of feeling good, but also how to keep it good.
Yes.
Keep it well, because I don't speak English very well. That's my thing. Keep it well.
And I come to you.
Yes.
So, and I bring my bed. Yes.
So how does your system work? Tell me your system. How does your system
So you either just text or call me
and
make an appointment. I work 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super accommodating. If you want a morning, I just went and saw a client at 6 a.m. The other day. So whatever time works best for you, not 2 a.m.
Yeah, she won't answer the call. Sorry, notification's off. Bye-bye.
Other than that, and then I bring my bed. I bring everything that's necessary for the massage. I bring it to your home or your office or wherever you want to meet, and we do the massage there. And I do 60, 80, or 90 minutes.
Fantastic. And I've had a massage from her, so she's phenomenal. She's great.
Thank you.
She knows information, as you've seen from one too. Understand how to help your body get better along getting a phenomenal massage. So thanks for watching, my friends.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony.
You're welcome. And links to are inside the show notes for her Instagram and also information too. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Thumbs up. Good.
Oh, thumbs.
One more time.